would you feel if you had control over your finances? How would you feel if you have the financial success you've always dreamt of? I have 8 tips that are going to help you get from being broke to being financially free. So let's get to it. As I mentioned in my previous video, I do come from humble beginnings. In most of my adult life, I haven't really had the chance to put that much money aside or see the importance of putting money aside. Something else always came in the way that I was focused on instead of myself. So only in my mid to late 30s have I really put the emphasis of investing and saving for my future. You see, many usually work and live paycheck to paycheck, and that was me for the majority of my life. And looking back now, I wish I would have seen the importance of starting earlier, because the earlier you start, the less you have to invest. So this is why I want to share with you guys 8 important tips that are really going to help you achieve financial freedom. So number 8 is not paying yourself first. You see, we always put other people's priority in front of our own, and it's really important for us to focus on making ourselves a priority, because in the future, if things change, we need to be able to have that cushion to fall back on. And we need to love ourselves enough to put that focus and emphasis on ourselves. And one of my top suggestions is making sure that you invest in yourself and in your future. So you don't want to put yourself last. Even if you have a limited budget, just start putting some money aside, because you're showing yourself self-love essentially, and you're caring enough for yourself that you're going to invest in yourself for your future. Now, number 7 is debt. Now, debt, there's some bad debt and good debt, you could say. So bad debt would be things like credit cards, consolidation loans, like small personal loans. So what you want to do is these loans and credit cards are all bad debt. So what you want to focus on is paying those down, focusing on the ones with the highest interest rate first and going after one at a time. So what you want to do is you want to try to reduce your total interest expenses and pay down that debt. So number 6 is spending. Look at where your money is going every month. What are you spending your money on? Where could you maybe reduce your expenses? Maybe you're spending a lot of money on takeout when you could be cooking at home. So you want to focus on your spending. And I think right now most people are focused on their spending because we are at a time where things are more difficult. People are paying higher interest on their mortgages and the payments are higher. The focus on spending is even more important than ever. So just revisit your spending habits and try to see where you may be able to reduce some of those expenses. Number 5 is budgeting. As I just mentioned, you want to focus on seeing where your money is being spent, and based on your expenses, you'll be able to come up with a budget that will allow you to figure out where you want to put your money, where your money will be going every month. So you want to make sure that the amount of money you make is sufficient enough to cover all your expenses. If that's not the case, then you want to see how you can increase your income in order to pay all those expenses, as well as I would suggest budgeting 10% of your income towards investments so that you can focus on growing your investments while you're paying down your debt and your expenses as well. Number 4 is taxes. So what you want to do there is you want to try to find ways to reduce your taxable income. So there's retirement accounts that often help you do that. Tax-free savings accounts. There's ways you can do that through owning a business. So speak to your accountant and see how you can try to reduce your tax expenses. Number 3 is waiting too long to invest. So as I mentioned before, how important it is to start early, because if your parents open you an account, an investment account, and were to invest $20 a month when you were born, you could easily become a millionaire by the time you're in your 40s. I know 40 years is a long time, but it is still doable. So when you think about $20 at the time millionaire, like, it's crazy to think, but it's all about the compound interest in the length of time that you've invested. So the earlier you start, the better. You won't have to invest as much money. So it's important to start now. So number 2 is not setting goals. How are you going to achieve reasonable goals if you don't think about them, what you want to have and what you want to do? And if you don't write them down, if you don't plan ahead, you won't necessarily achieve what you desire unless you plan in advance. So that's why it's so important to plan ahead. Most very successful people will plan their year in advance, and they'll also have a plan for the next 5 years and 10 years. Because if you don't set yourself goals of what you want to achieve, most people don't know what they want. So if you don't know what you want, you're not going to really achieve much because you didn't really plan it ahead, and you're not going to get what you desire. So you really need to think about what you desire to do, plan in advance. Within time, you should be able to achieve those goals or get close to achieving them. And number 1 is living beyond your means. That will make you broke. So most people live beyond their means because they're trying to impress other people, or they have some facade they want to perceive themselves to be. So it's really important to focus on what you truly desire, who you truly want to be, and that you're doing the things you're doing because you're doing them for yourself, not for other people. If you want to drive a Toyota, maybe you don't want to spend money on a Lexus, which is also Toyota, you could say. But if you want to save money and buy a Toyota instead of a Lexus, it's your money you're spending, not someone else's. So who cares what they think? So you want to make sure that you're not living above your means. Living below your means will allow you more peace. It'll allow you to be more comfortable in your living situation. You won't be as stressed. You'll know that you'll have a cushion to fall back on if something happens. So it's really important to really focus on doing the things you truly desire to do. So there you go, guys. Those are the top 8 things I would focus on in order to avoid being broke. So again, if you guys like this video, I really appreciate you guys liking it, sharing it, subscribing to my channel, and I hope to see you guys next week.